Howdy folks, welcome back to yet another marvelous anime video. While everybody loves a great horror story, we also enjoy tales in which we humans take the fight to the supernatural creatures that torment us. While Demon Slayer is currently the most popular work in this genre, despite its name, it's neither the first nor the best to ever do it. Demon slaying has been one of anime's most iconic themes. From gritty horror to supernatural action, and some of the best examples didn't come from modern hits, but from the retro classics that started it all. Today, we're diving into a world filled with cursed blades, ancient spirits, and battles against the darkest creatures ever imagined. In this video, we're counting down 11 demon-slaying anime that deliver everything fans of the genre love. Fierce battles, haunting atmospheres, unforgettable heroes, and monsters that push the limits of old-school animation. Whether you're a hardcore vintage fan or just curious about the roots of today's demon hunting craze, these titles are absolute must-watch experiences. So grab your sword, light your talismans, and prepare to kick some demon ass. Here are your 11 demon hunting shows that defined curse-slaying nights in the early 90s and 2000s. Let's begin. Sazan Eyes. Let's kick things off with one of the cornerstones of supernatural anime from the early 90s, Sazan Eyes. The eponymous, super successful manga, written and illustrated by Japanese mangaka Yuzo Takada, would be adapted into two gritty, atmospheric OVAs. Sazan Eyes is a globe-trotting adventure that takes the audience to places like Tibet, Hong Kong, and Tokyo as we follow the adventures of an immortal girl named Pai and her companion Yakumo. Pai, who is the last of the Sanjian Unkara, arrives in Tokyo in search of an individual who would help her in the quest to find a mythical artifact called the Ningen Nozo. However, the moment she arrives in Tokyo, she's robbed of her belongings by a thief. Fortunately for her, a young lad called Yakumo comes to her rescue and recovers her backpack from the thief, who escapes with her staff. As the two get to know one another, Pai discovers that Yakumo is, coincidentally, the person she had traveled to meet. Yakumo's father had been an archaeologist working in Tibet who had befriended Pai and promised to help her find the mystical artifact. Unfortunately, he succumbs to an illness and dies before he can fulfill that promise. However, he sends Pai to Japan with a letter he has written to his son asking him to fulfill the promise he made to the immortal girl. Before Yakumo can wrap his head around all these fantastical things being told to him, a monster is reported to be flying above Tokyo. Pai immediately recognizes the demon as her pet, but Yakumo, who still hasn't entirely accepted Pai's story, pushes her away from the demon, mistaking its welcome for an attack. This results in the demon fatally wounding Yakumo and killing him. Unwilling to lose the companion she had finally found, Pai reveals her third eye and absorbs his soul. This restores his body but turns him into an undead who's bound to her. Now, the only way to reverse Yakumo's condition is to find the Ningen Nozo, as it's only with this artifact that Pai can become human. However, standing between them and their goal are hordes of demons and malevolent creatures, some of whom desire Pai's power or the artifact they seek for their own nefarious plans, which includes the resurrection of an evil dead deity. Sazan Eyes is for people looking for an anime with deep, myth-heavy world-building featuring demonic clans and mystical races. Ushio and Tora. While fans of this genre might be familiar with the 2015 adaptation of Ushio and Tora, we're here to talk about a much older adaptation that ran from 1992 to 93. The series would be adapted into an 11-part OVA by Toho. This iconic show, based on the manga by Kazuhiro Fujita, follows the story of a young Ushio Eotsuki who is the son of a temple caretaker. As luck would have it, Ushio, who's something of a hothead, decides to enter a hidden cellar he had previously been warned against entering. To his amazement and horror, inside the cellar, he finds a colossal tiger-like demon impaled to the wall by a legendary spear called the Beast Spear. It's revealed that the demon called Tora had been sealed by the power of the spear for over 500 years. Now, due to Ushio opening the cellar, the seals that bind him had begun to weaken. This leads to Tora's powerful aura leaking out of his body and attracting a host of demons toward Ushio's location. Despite Tora's threats to devour him, Ushio is left with little to no choice and removes the spear to combat the incoming demons in order to protect his friends and family, but in doing so, he releases Tora. The mystical weapon, however, turns out to exact a heavy price for its use. The user's soul is consumed, slowly transforming them, blurring the lines between monster and man. What starts off as an uneasy alliance soon turns into a friendship of sorts, though Tora never admits it up front. With the spear now awakened, the duo must battle hordes of demons who seek to destroy the weapon or use it for their own dark purposes. The dichotomy of a boy struggling to stay human and a demon slowly remembering what humanity feels like forms a powerful emotional core for the series, making it more than just your average hack-and-slash anime. While the 2015 series is animated extremely well, the OVAs have that trademark 90s anime look which presents this series in a whole new light. In our opinion, the visuals lend the show a much darker, moody, and dramatic feel than its newer version. If you're into Japanese folklore, rivalries, and high-octane action with emotional undercurrents, Ushio and Tora will not disappoint. Demon Lord Dante. Demon Lord Dante is an anime adaptation of the manga by none other than the legendary mangaka Go Nagai, best known for series like Devilman and Violence Jack. Millions of years ago, demons were the original inhabitants of Earth. However, when an overwhelmingly powerful cosmic entity called God arrived at the planet, he initiated a holy war to wipe out demonkind and created the current humans. Fast forward to the modern day, and the story follows an ordinary high school student named Ryo who is plagued by violent dreams in which a gigantic demonic creature devours him. While this is happening, the world at large begins experiencing supernatural events, all of which seem to be signaling something. We soon learn that everything, including Ryo's dreams, is the result of an ancient demon called Dante's seal weakening, and there are those who seek to expedite his return. These malevolent forces orchestrate events that lead Dante to travel to the Himalayas in search of the demon's tomb, which he discovers is all too real. The demon Dante manipulates Ryo to break the seal and proceeds to devour him in a vicious manner. However, instead of dying, Ryo retains his consciousness, although it's somewhat fragmented at the start. Unable to come to terms with his new form, Ryo, now in Dante's body, goes on a rampage, killing and destroying everything in sight. As he fights to regain control of his new powers and his fate, the ancient memories of Dante begin to resurface, revealing the shocking truth about the world's history. This revelation shatters Ryo, and now he must choose between siding with the demon race he now embodies or protecting humanity to which he once belonged. As one of Go Nagai's early works, Demon Lord Dante is a must-watch for fans of his other works and is highly recommended by us. Ghost Sweeper Mikami. Ghost Sweeper Mikami is a 45-episode anime adaptation of the eponymous manga by Takashi Shiina. The anime is set in modern Japan, where, due to rapid urbanization and growth, countless supernatural entities like ghosts and demons have been uprooted from their natural haunts. This has angered these beings, prompting them to retaliate by creating supernatural disturbances that have sparked a widespread crisis. In the wake of these developments, several private exorcism agencies, widely known as the Ghost Sweepers, were created to address these new threats. Among these companies, Mikami GS is widely considered the best in the business. Led by its 31-year-old ruthless and beautiful proprietor, Mikami Reiko, alongside her two assistants, Okino and Tadao Yokoshima, the Mikami GS takes care of ghosts, demons, yokai, you name it, all for the right price. Most episodes are self-contained stories where Mikami is tackling a flavor of the week monster. However, the series is tied together by narrative arcs that feature characters and monsters who make reappearances as the show progresses. The overarching villain of the series is a demon called Astaroth, whose conflict with Reiko forms the undercurrent of the plot. While the show does have comedic tones, it doesn't shy away from exploring darker, more serious scenarios. This one's a must-watch for fans of the genre, as they don't really make shows like this anymore. Demon City Shinjuku. No anime list featuring supernatural tropes would be complete without the inclusion of this work by the legendary director Yoshiaki Kawajiri. Adapted from a novel by yet another iconic figure, Hideyuki Kikuchi, the man behind works like Vampire Hunter D, Demon City Shinjuku is a violent, dark tale about humanity's conflict with demons. The story begins with two virtuoso martial arts masters facing off in an epic duel. On one side is the respected exorcist hero Genichiro Izayoi, while on the other is his rival, the evil Rebi Ra. It soon becomes apparent that Rebi Ra has opened himself up to demons in order to gain more power to overcome his foe and conquer the world. This allows him to kill Genichiro while also destroying Shinjuku, turning it into a demon-infested wasteland. The story then picks up 10 years later, just as the world leaders are gathering to declare world peace when the summit is attacked by Rebi Ra, signaling the start of his global apocalypse ritual. It's then left to the lazy, unmotivated young man, Kiyoya Izayoi, to face his father's old foe and bring his reign of terror to an end. To this end, he enters the demon-infested Shinjuku with the woman who recruited him, Sayaka Rama. Kyoya is forced to embrace his destiny as he's beset by both demons and corrupted humans who would usher the world into pandemonium. Demon City Shinjuku is a full-on demon-hunting adventure in a ruined Tokyo hellscape featuring all the usual tropes like gore, graphic violence, and sexual content present in Kawajiri's works. It does a stellar job by combining martial arts, psychic powers, grotesque demons, and dark sorcery into a stylish, atmospheric 80s occult action film. This is a movie that will surely appeal to all fans of the genre. Inuyasha. Inuyasha is an anime based on the eponymous manga written and illustrated by Rumiko Takahashi, one of the most celebrated mangakas from Japan. The original anime aired for a total of 167 episodes from 2000 to 2004, faithfully following the manga and omitting only the final arc. A 26-episode adaptation, aptly titled The Final Act, would animate the remaining characters of the manga and bring the series to a conclusion. The story is mostly set in Sengoku-era Japan, with occasional shifts to modern times. It follows the story of a young high school girl named Kagome who is transported to the Sengoku era after she falls down the well at her family's shrine. Upon emerging from the well, she comes across a half-demon by the name of Inuyasha who had been pinned to a tree by a spiritual arrow. Kagome proceeds to break his seal, freeing him. Inuyasha, however, is confused because Kagome is the spitting image of his former love, Kikiyo, who was his captor and a supremely powerful priestess. We soon learn that Kagome is a future reincarnation of Kikiyo and possesses the all-powerful Shikon Jewel. However, during a conflict, Kagome shatters this powerful artifact, leading her to team up with Inuyasha to recover the fragments before they fall into the wrong hands. Through their journey across the mystical lands of feudal Japan, they must fight demons and humans alike who seek the jewel shards for their own nefarious purposes. The two end up making friends with a cursed, lecherous monk named Miroku and a female demon huntress named Sango to aid them in their journey. As the story unfolds, we learn about each of their tragic and complicated pasts and why they journey to reclaim the jewel. Inuyasha served as a gateway anime for many fans thanks to its run on networks like Adult Swim and Toonami. Even decades later, this anime still commands a massive global fan base, which is reflected in the amount of discussions regarding it in forums and the cosplays you see at conventions. This is another classic anime which sometimes receives hate for just being too mainstream for some people, but we feel that it's certainly better than what many give it credit for, and we consider it a marvelous must-watch. Hell Teacher Nube. Let's take a second to dive into a series that's somewhat lighter. Hell Teacher Nube is a 3-part OVA based on the eponymous manga series written by Sho Makura and Takeshi Okano. It follows the adventures of Meisuke Nueno, aka Nube, a gentle, clumsy elementary school teacher. However, when supernatural activities linked to yokais begin targeting his students, Nueno is forced to reveal his powers in order to protect his wards. Nube possesses a demonic arm from a very powerful Oni that almost took his life. A monk had sealed it within him, giving him the ability to destroy demons, seal spirits, exercise possession, and unleash demonic energy when necessary. His classroom and students become central to the storytelling, as the demons that they face are often tied to their personal fears or emotions. While most of the series is episodic, there are some recurring faces who are both friends and foes. From powerful Onis seeking to claim his demonic hand, to demon teachers infiltrating his school, Nueno must go up against all odds to secure the safety of his students. Despite its somewhat lighter setting and tone, at the end of the day, this series is still a serious demon-slaying show at its core. Hell Teacher Nube is for viewers who want a mix of demon hunting action, Japanese folklore, light horror, heartfelt moments, and school life comedy in their shows. If you belong to this category, then this series is one you cannot miss. Mononoke. This one's a spin-off of the popular horror anthology Ayakashi Samurai Horror Tales, featuring the medicine peddler from one of the episodes. Mononoke continues to expand on the tale of this enigmatic, unnamed medicine peddler as he traverses Japan, exorcising all manners of demons and spirits. These demons are born from intense human emotions such as fear, grief, guilt, hatred, and trauma. To exorcise these demons, the peddler must first uncover 3 truths about them: the Katachi, the monster's actual form, the Makoto, the truth behind its creation, and the Kotowari, the emotional motivation that gave it birth. Once he learns these 3 things, the peddler is able to unsheath his divine sword and banish the demons. The series is told through 5 standalone arcs, each set in a different location: a haunted inn, a demon-plagued ship, a cursed noble estate, and more, where the medicine seller investigates the human tragedies that gave rise to each Mononoke. Each arc uncovers dark secrets, suppressed memories, or unresolved wrongs that the demon embodies. Through these confrontations, the medicine seller exposes the truth, forces characters to face their past, and ultimately exorcises the demon, restoring balance. The series deals with extremely mature themes like sexual abuse, abandonment, torture, and betrayal, making it unsuitable for a younger audience. One of this series' strong suits is its highly stylized animation, which makes it the most visually distinct show on this list. Mononoke is for adults and older teens who enjoy cerebral horror, supernatural detective work, folklore-based demon hunting, and visually striking anime, where exorcising real demons is the central focus. Dororo. Originally based on the 1967 manga by one of the most celebrated manga artists of all time, Osamu Tezuka, this series revolves around the journey of two young characters, Hyakimaru and Dororo. As the two journey through a war-torn feudal Japan in order to slay the demons that had stolen Hyakimaru's humanity from him, they must confront all manner of challenges. The young masterless samurai, Hyakimaru, was originally the son of a daimyo named Kagemitsu Daigo. However, despite having been born into the aristocracy, he would have his whole life snatched away from him by his own father, who makes a terrible pact with 48 demons, offering his son's humanity in exchange for personal power and prosperity in his realm. Due to this, each of the demons takes away things from the child, making it look like an abomination when it's born. Hyakimaru is born sightless, limbless, and without any sensory organs, including his skin. Daigo orders the execution of the newborn infant in order to hide his shame and sin, but fate had other plans for the unfortunate Hyakimaru. Despite the circumstances of his birth and his father's cruel judgment, Hyakimaru's mother, who is unable to bear witness to her child's death, sets him adrift in a river, hoping that he might somehow survive. As fate would have it, the young boy is rescued by a wandering medicine man named Jukai, who finds him on an embankment and, despite his visage, decides to raise him as his own. Jukai proceeds to build prosthetics for Hyakimaru from the deceased body parts of war orphans and begins nursing him back to health. Sometime around the time when Hyakimaru is a young child, he has another fateful encounter, this time with a traveling storyteller. This individual, upon realizing that Hyakimaru is a child of prophecy, bestows upon him a mystical sword capable of slaying demons. Not long after, he's forced to leave Jukai and set out on a journey to kill the demons who stole his humanity from him after his adopted home comes under attack. A disembodied voice informs him of his true nature and the quest he must embark on. By the time Hyakimaru meets Dororo, he has already slain over 15 demons and regained some semblance of his humanity. While the two journey on to slay the remaining demons, his father, Kagemitsu, becomes possessed by the very demons he sought to bargain with. Instead of the prosperity and power promised to him, demons now lay waste to his realm and torment his citizens unchecked. As both father and son head towards an inevitable showdown, it's up to the Ronin who was abandoned at birth to save the very realm for which he was sacrificed. When we watch Hyakimaru's transformation over the course of the series, it's not lost to the audience that they're not just witnessing a physical transformation, but one that symbolizes much deeper things. The transition of him steadily reclaiming his humanity after being born the way he was, until he's whole, is beautifully depicted. The two characters play off of each other well, with their contrasting personalities instantly captivating the audience. Bonded through tragedy, the duo's journey through the beautifully rendered feudal Japan lingers in one's mind long after the anime is over. Juxtaposed against these beautiful landscapes is a story filled with malevolent supernatural beings and visceral violence. It explores themes of human suffering, the nature of humanity, identity crisis, and loneliness, to name a few. From a pure demon-slaying anime point of view, this is one of the best out there, and it's an easy recommend from us. Ninja Resurrection. This brutal ninja series is often mistaken for a sequel to the Ninja Scroll anime because it was marketed as such by its American distributors. Yasunori Urara directed this two-part OVA series, which plays heavily into religious and supernatural themes set in the historical Tokugawa shogunate era. It's loosely based on the historical event known as the Shimabara Rebellion, in which local peasants and ronins, led by Amakusa Shiro, launched a Christian rebellion against the local daimyo and his oppressive policies. The rebellion would be violently suppressed, resulting in the mass executions and witch hunts of the fledgling Japanese Christian communities. The anime presents the historical figure Amakusa Shiro as the series' antagonist. It captures the tragic tale of this God-fearing, righteous man's fall from grace after he feels abandoned by his faith and God following the failed Shimabara rebellion. As the walls close around Shiro, with the warrior Jubei and his 4 ninja compatriots hunting him and the remaining survivors of the rebellion down, Amakusa offers to commit ritual suicide in exchange for the lives of the innocent he was protecting. However, after learning that the people after him had already murdered 2 of the children under his protection, Amakusa loses his mind and unwittingly channels the power of evil, attacking his aggressors. Despite a hard battle, Jubei manages to mortally wound Amakusa, who, in his final desperate moments, is tempted into serving Satan. We later find out that Amakusa was actually fated to be reborn as the vessel for Satan himself. After a few years of the rebellion, the fallen warrior of God begins to resurrect as an infernal warrior, hell-bent on scouring his enemies from the face of the earth. With the hour of Amakusa's vengeance at hand, the legendary swordsman, Yagyu Jubei Mitsuyoshi, must put an end to the former rebel and his diabolical legions before they take over Japan and turn the country into hell on earth. The blood and brutality of the film are brought beautifully to life by the high-quality cell animations of the time and a stellar cast of voice actors. The anime's art style is very reminiscent of the Ninja Scroll film and will immediately appeal to those who liked that movie, even if it's not a direct sequel. The movie is one of the most visually striking films of the era. It's replete with characters with supernatural abilities, along with religious and occult imagery. The anime doesn't shy away from scenes of rape, torture, mutilation, or body horror. Some of the scenes in the anime are genuinely hard to watch, with things like exploding children shocking the viewer's sensibilities. Most copies of Ninja Resurrection are heavily censored, though the unedited versions can be found floating around on the internet for those interested. Devilman. The seminal dark fantasy series, written and illustrated by acclaimed Japanese mangaka Go Nagai, Devilman is one of the most iconic anime and manga to have ever been released. Originally published in 1972, the manga has received numerous anime adaptations from 1972 to 2018. The plot follows the life of a teenager named Akira Fudo as he gets caught up in a war between demons and humans that threatens to wipe out humanity. As the demons begin to awaken from their slumber, they intend to wipe out mankind and take back the world as theirs. Ryo Asuka, who is Akira's childhood friend, manages to convince him that the only way to stop these incursions is to take part in a ritual called the Black Sabbath. This ritual, however, is actually a means for the demons to merge with humans and infiltrate society. However, when Amon, a mighty demon, merges with Akira due to the teenager's pure heart, he can retain his conscience. This allows Akira to tap into Amon's power and become the Devilman, a being who will stop at nothing to protect humanity from the demons. As Akira takes the fight to the demons, society begins crumbling down around him as people are gripped with fear and paranoia, accusing each other of being demons. It's eventually revealed that not everything is as it seems, and our protagonist has to contend with betrayals of the highest order before the end. The series deals with complex themes such as the duality of man, the corruption of innocence, existential crisis, and sexual identity. While the first anime adaptation is the most well-known and loved thanks to its retro 70s anime charm and aesthetics, it's not entirely faithful to the manga, despite running for 39 episodes. Many fans have argued that this version lacks the horror elements and the psychological and emotional weight of its source material, as it was aired during the daytime and aimed at a younger audience. The violence that the Devilman manga is well known for is also very toned down in this version. The 1987 and 1990 two-part OVA series does a great job of rectifying some of these issues. The two OVAs are noticeably darker in tone and do a much better job at capturing the philosophical and brutal tone of Go Nagai's manga. The visuals do a better job of showing his human empathy and demonic rage. The only problem with this adaptation is that it's too short, and people unfamiliar with the series might be left a little confused about certain characters and plot points. Regardless, both the 1972 and the OVAs are solid retellings of the manga despite their flaws. In 2018, we got the Netflix adaptation of this iconic series, Devilman Crybaby, which ran for 10 episodes. This anime is by far the most faithful adaptation of the source material, with tons of gore and violence on display. It comes closest to capturing the true essence of the original Devilman manga in terms of tone, theme, and world building. Masaaki Yuasa's signature animation style is surreal and fluid, granting it a poetic aesthetic with a hint of chaos. This is a legendary anime franchise and a must-watch for any serious anime aficionado. Marvelous verdict! And there you have it. 11 retro demon-slaying anime that paved the way for everything the demon-slaying genre has become today. Long before the crisp digital animation and mainstream popularity of modern titles, these classics were experimenting with raw creativity, hand-drawn horror, and stories that dared to dive deep into the supernatural. From the tragic heroics of Devilman to the wandering demon-hunting odyssey of Dororo, each title brought something unique to the table. These weren't just shows about fighting monsters, they explored humanity, sacrifice, revenge, and the thin line between good and evil. And, in true retro fashion, they did it with bold art styles, iconic soundtracks, and an atmosphere that you simply can't recreate in modern animation. Thanks for sticking with us right to the end of this video. If you enjoyed our content, be sure to check out the rest of our channel where we post daily videos featuring all your favorite anime and characters. We hope to see you soon in the next one, but until then, stay safe and stay marvelous.